everyone, Mrs. Doubtfire, hello. How are you all doing? I hope you guys are doing fine. A few days ago, I did a Q&A on my Insta stories, and a lot of people asked me my top 3 favorite books, and I just figured I would come on here and do a video so that it could be saved, so I don't have to keep answering that question every time I do it. And today happened to be World Book Day, so I got on here and decided to film this after, of course, changing my top, adding a bit of makeup and slapping my hair back and trying to make it look presentable, because let's face it, I do not lounge around like this. Anyhow, if you guys are following me and do not know what my top favorite book is of all time, what are you even doing? Vikram Seth's A Suitable Boy has been my favorite book since the year it came out, and the year I read it, and I have absolutely been madly in love with him. If literature was a religion, Vikram Seth would be my choice of God. He is so good, and that book is so special. And here is why it is special. It is one of the first books I read. I remember I was in boarding school the first time I read it, finished it in like 4 days, reread it again a year later, finished it again in a few days. I've read it, I think 3 or 4 times. The most recent being I bought a copy when I was in New York over the summer. New York. One day I will be back to you. I will need to stop saying that, but it just makes me so sad. Anyhow, one of the summers that I was in New York, I actually went, picked up a physical copy of the book, reread the whole thing, and I think I took a week. I didn't speak to anyone during that week or didn't go anywhere. And it literally was like reading poetry. It is one of those books that like just sucks you in, and you are in a world. He builds you a little world. The characters are your friends. You don't need any real life friends. And when it is over, you feel a loss. And the first time I read it, it's about a girl picking a suitable boy as a husband. And when the first time I read it, I wanted her to be with somebody else. As the years went by and I myself matured, I realized why she made the decision. It's just very interesting, and I learned a lot about myself from the book. It is thick. It's a thick ass book. It's going to take you a while. Read it. Now is the perfect time to read it. He's got it. If you have some other more time and you actually want to read a series that is not, it's going to be super absorbing, but is not about marriages and suitable boys, Harry Potter. I mean, J.K. Rowling is freaking amazing. You might just be like, oh, but my children are reading it. It's not for adults. Like, no, you know nothing. Jon Snow, different book. It is one of those books. I remember when I was young and I read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and like Enid Blyton books and stuff like that. And I read a whole bunch of books as a kid, and it literally felt like Enid Blyton. If any of you guys have read Enid Blyton or enjoyed reading as a child, you know that she like built a world around you, and you like were in that world, and you could see things so vividly, and in your head you could like picture all these characters and these places and these chairs that flew off and all these faraway lands and everything. J.K. Rowling does that for you as an adult. She builds a world for you. When I watched the movies, they matched up so perfectly to the characters. Even her writing as, what is her pen name? The Robert Strike novels. I don't know what her, Robert Galbraith, or whatever it is. You know, she writes, Cormoran Strike. She writes basically, not Robert Strike, Cormoran Strike is a character, and she writes under a pseudonym. And those books are just, again, not as good. Nowhere even close as good. But if you saw the characters and you bumped into them, you would feel like you know them. Like if the dude walked down the street, I'd be like, oh, that's him. So the same way Harry Potter, when the movie was done, like you just had such a physical description of these characters. Freaking love it. I'm short of time, so I better race across them. If you are like, you know what, I want to basically connect with something more divine, and yeah, Harry Potter and Suitable Boys are not doing it for me, and I want to read a really good spiritual books. There's so many that are in at the moment, but this one just moved something in me a few years ago, and it's just one that is so, so special. This is Conversations with God by Neale Donald Walsch, and it literally feels to me like if there was a God that I can understand, who is not fearful, who is one that you don't have to fear, which is not hateful, and who does not punish, and who actually answers questions. Like, I felt that this was a conversation with the kind of God that I believe in. The jury's still out. I don't know, has he said whether he actually wrote it, or whether he was auto-writing, or whether he actually spoke to God, or whether it came to him in meditation? I don't know. Who knows? Even if this is a fictional book, it is beautiful and one that I really, really enjoyed. If you're like, you know what, I like to read, I want to read something, but I want to appear really smart and read like a classic, but an easy one because I'm not that smart. The Great Gatsby. It's thin. It is really good. It is so much better than the movie. Yes, Leonardo DiCaprio is great eye candy, but this is a very well-written book. Another great one is Portrait of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. That's another really good one. I'm going to force my book club, which they don't know yet, into reading Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Another great classic. These are classics that you can just, sit at a dining table and be like, hey, I read classics through the quarantine period and like appear smart, but they're very easy books to read. So yeah, Great Gatsby, such a great book. Another of my favorites, if you're Indian, want a really good Indian author, oh, absolutely love this book. It reads like poetry, and I had the damn thing opened out for you. I don't know where it went. Anyway, it is Palace of Illusions. Oh, there you go. Palace of Illusions by Chitra Banerjee Divra. And it basically is the story of the Mahabharata, which is an Indian epic, told from Draupadi's point of view. Since I don't have time, I'm not going to explain to the non-Indians who Draupadi is, but trust me, it is beautiful. And if you are familiar with the Mahabharata, like, oh my God, she writes so beautifully. Do not read anything else by her. You will be sorely disappointed. But yes, amazing book. Bad Blood. Business lovers who still want something interesting to read and not like boring, because a lot of business books can be so freaking boring. Bad Blood. This woman is absolutely nutso. You will not believe it is a true story. She's crazy. This is the story of, what is her name? Elizabeth of Theranos, basically in Silicon Valley. And Elizabeth what? Elizabeth Holmes. She's crazy. Great, great book. If you want something that is a very heavy subject, but is put in a very interesting way, this was a Pulitzer Prize winner. This is called Maus, M-A-U-S. It is entirely in cartoon format. I know that there's a word for it. What is it called? Cartoon novels. But it is about the Holocaust, and I have only 50 seconds left. Great book. You want one about Indian history, the best book I have read, and I do not like nonfiction, is Indian Summer. Every Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi person should read this to understand what the Brits did to us. Indian Summer, Alex von Tunzelman. Great, great book. And of course, shameless plug, if you want something just really mind-numbing, but really good, it is my novel, Kitty in the City. And with that, I'm going to bid you adieu because I'm not verified and IGTV only gives me 10 minutes. Hope you enjoyed that. And let me know your favorite book down below. See you. Bye-bye.